In the year 2462, Earth was no longer alone. After centuries of dreaming about alien life, humans finally joined the Galactic Concorder, a peaceful alliance of thousands of species. It had taken years of diplomacy, science, and understanding, but now Earth stood as a young, hopeful member of a very old family. Among all these alien races, one species stood out more than others: the Varelians. The Varelians were tall, silver-skinned beings with glowing patterns on their bodies. They were wise, graceful, and lived for hundreds of years. Their cities floated in the sky, powered by energy that humans could barely understand. To many they were like gods from ancient myths. But even gods have problems. The Varelians were slowly dying out. Their numbers were dropping. They had reached a point where no more children were being born. No one knew why. Their science could not fix it. Their priests said it was the end of their time, so they turned to an old tradition, the Continuance Project. It was not about romance. It was about survival. A Varelian matriarch, usually wise and experienced, would choose a partner from another species to share genetics. It was respectful, formal, and sacred. This year, Selthori, one of the oldest and most respected matriarchs, announced she would begin the continuance once again. Every species in the Concord sent in candidates. The best of the best, strong, smart, and healthy individuals were examined. The whole galaxy watched on. Then something strange happened. The one chosen was not from a noble bloodline, not a super soldier, not a telepath, not a ruler. He was Commander Elias Rowe, a human. Elias stood inside the Grand Hall of Selection, located on the neutral planet Tarsus 4. High ceilings reached the clouds. Light beams moved along crystal pillars. Hundreds of species watched from floating seats, each different in shape and color. Elias, tall and sharp-edged, stood alone on a glass platform. His uniform was clean, but simpler, blue with silver stripes. He felt many eyes on him, judging. Some were full of surprise, others with confusion, a few with quiet anger. Why had he been chosen? Even Elias didn't understand. A low hum echoed through the chamber as Selthori entered. She moved, like water. Her long limbs shimmered with silver blue light. Her eyes glowed with soft violet. She wore a robe made of living silk, flowing with every breath of air. When she looked at Elias, it was like the room held its breath. "You are Elias Rowe," she said, her voice calm and smooth, yet deep. "I am, matriarch," Elias replied, his voice steady. "You do not ask why you were chosen," she noted. "I don't think I was told," he said honestly. A pause. Then, a faint smile on Seth's face. "Humans are still learning how vast the stars are, but in you, there is something ... unrecorded." She stepped closer. "You solved the crystal maze of Zenthia in 2 hours. It took others days. You passed the Unity simulation with the highest empathy score recorded in a decade. And your DNA contains something ... unexpected." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Unexpected how?" "That we do not yet understand," she said. "But it speaks to something ancient, something lost." Before he could ask more, a chime rang. A giant symbol appeared in the air above them, the seal of the continuance. It was a spiral of stars, turning slowly. "With this, I confirm the selection," Selthori said. "You will come to Virelia." The crowd did not cheer. This was not a celebration. It was a moment of deep tradition, silent and powerful. Later, on the flight to Virelia, Elias looked out the window of the spy cruiser. Bright lines of space folded around them. The stars moved like rivers. He thought about what had just happened. He wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a leader. He had grown up in a small colony on Mars, served in space exploration, and earned a few medals. But he was still just ... human. What was this something unrecorded they kept talking about? He wondered if he was really the right choice. He watched the stars drift by. A soft voice came through the room speaker. "Commander Rowe," Selthori said. "May I join you?" "Of course," he replied. A moment later, the door slid open, and she stepped in, glowing faintly in the dim light. "I understand you are confused," she said. "More than a little," Elias admitted. She sat across from him. "The Concord sees humans as ... raw, new, but I see something else. A pattern in chaos, a spark that resists explanation." Elias smiled faintly. "We tend to surprise people." "Yes, and sometimes that surprise is what saves a species." There was silence between them, but not uncomfortable, more like calm before a storm. Selthori looked out the window with him. Long ago, the Varelians believed that life moved in cycles, that when a species reaches its limit, something new arrives to guide it. "I believe you may be that guide." "I'm no guide," Elias said. "I don't even know where we're going." "To the heart of my world," she answered. To begin the rites to learn if you are truly compatible, and if I'm not, he asked. Then the old ways will end, she said quietly. Elias looked at her, seeing not just a leader but a person facing extinction. A person still full of hope. He nodded. Then let's make sure I pass. When the Star Cruiser arrived at Varelia, the sky looked like a painting, floating mountains, glowing rivers, and towers that sang with light. Elias had seen many worlds, but this one felt like a dream. That as he stepped onto the landing platform, a strange feeling passed through him, like a shiver under his skin. Scifi turned sharply. The Vault of Origin, she whispered. It responded. Responded to what? Elias asked. To you. And then the platform lit up under his feet, markings glowing in patterns that hadn't appeared in 1,000 years. The Varelians around them froze. The air buzzed. Something ancient had awakened. The lights on the platform slowly faded, but the energy remained in the air. Commander Elias Rowe stood still, unsure of what had just happened. All around him Varelians whispered in soft tones. Their eyes glowed brighter with curiosity, maybe even fear. Scifi, the Varelian matriarch, stepped beside him. Her glowing patterns flickered like candlelight. The Vault of Origin has not reacted in many generations, she said. It should not have reacted at all. And yet it did, Elias replied. Scifi nodded. You are not just a partner in the continuance now, Elias Rowe. You are a subject of legend. The tests must begin immediately. Tests? He asked. To be chosen is an honor, she said. But to become part of the continuance, you must prove yourself worthy, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. I see, Elias said with a small sigh. I was hoping we'd skip the test part. Scifi gave a soft, amused look. Varelians do not skip tradition. They traveled deep into the heart of Varelia to a place called the Sanctum of Echoes. It was carved inside a mountain made of glowing crystal. The walls sang as they walked through the halls, each note like a whisper from the past. Elias was brought into a round chamber. The center stood a circle of light. Around it were 3 Varelian elders, each floating slightly above the ground. Their eyes were bright, their robes flowing like liquid air. Scifi stood by his side and spoke loudly. This is Elias Rowe of Earth, chosen by me. He seeks to prove his worth. The first elder, tall and silent, raised a hand. The trial of logic. A small platform appeared before Elias. Strange symbols floated in the air, changing every second. He had no idea what they meant, but something inside his mind clicked. He didn't read the symbols, he felt them. He stared at the puzzle, letting his instincts guide him. One by one he moved pieces with simple hand gestures. The lights responded. After 15 minutes, the puzzle clicked into place. A gentle tone rang in the air. The elders looked at each other. Past, the first one said. Elias let out a quiet breath. Next came the trial of the body. Elias was brought to the Hall of Forms, a training ground unlike any he had ever seen. Floating platforms, shifting walls, creatures made of hard light. It was not a fight to win, it was a test of survival. Scifi explained. You must last 15 minutes. Use your skills, not strength, but awareness. Elias entered the arena. The walls changed every second. A creature shaped like a serpent charged at him. He dodged. Another flew from above. He rolled, then jumped to a platform. He didn't try to attack. He used the space. His training as a soldier helped, but it was more than that. His body moved faster, sharper than usual. His senses felt enhanced. When the trial ended, the creatures vanished, and the elders nodded again. Past. Then came the final test, the trial of empathy. This one was strange. Elias was brought into a quiet room with a single chair. He sat. Across from him was a Varelian child. The child looked sad, confused and afraid. A soft voice in his mind spoke. Help him. Elias didn't ask questions. He didn't speak fancy words. He sat calmly, slowly leaned forward, and smiled. You're safe, he said gently. I know it feels scary, but you're not alone. The child looked up at him. You don't have to explain, Elias continued. I've been scared too, we all have, but sometimes, we just need someone to listen. The child blinked, and tears shimmered in his eyes. Then, the image faded. The elders spoke softly. Most speak, few listen. He passed. Back in the main chamber, Scifi stood with pride. You have completed the trials of the continuance, she announced. You are worthy. Elias stepped forward. What happens now? We begin the next phase, she said. But first, rest. That night, Elias sat in his guest chamber, staring out at the glowing sky of Varelia. The stars above looked closer here, as if the planet itself spoke to them. He felt different, not tired, but awake. His body felt stronger, his thoughts were faster. Something inside him had changed. He looked at his hands. No burns, no injuries, but he remembered falling during the trial of the body. He had scraped his arm badly. Yet now, it was healed. Not even a mark. Strange. Suddenly, a soft alarm rang. His room door opened with a chime. A Varelian guard entered. Eyes serious. "Commander Rowe," the guard said. "You must come. There's a problem." Elias followed the guard quickly down the glowing halls of the temple. Selthari met him in a large chamber, surrounded by guards. "What's wrong?" Elias asked. "There was an intruder," she said. "A member of the old guard. They believe your presence threatens our traditions." "What did they do?" "They sent an assassin," she said, "to kill you." Before Elias could answer, a shadow leaped from the ceiling. A long blade aimed for his chest. But Elias moved faster than ever before. He ducked, turned, and knocked the attacker away with one powerful strike. The guard was stunned. So was Elias. He had never moved like that before. The attacker was captured, and Elias stood, breathing heavily. No wounds, no fear, just clarity. Selthari stepped forward slowly. "You moved like the early ones," she whispered, "like the firstborn of our legends." "I don't know what happened," Elias said. "It was like something inside me woke up." She looked at him, her eyes wide with wonder. "Then it is true. You are no ordinary human." Later, Selthari sat with Elias in a quiet chamber. "We have studied many species," she said. "But you you are something new, or perhaps something very old." Elias leaned forward. "You think humans are special. I think," she said slowly, "that you carry a piece of something forgotten, a memory written into your blood. The vault of origin awakened because of you." "What is the vault?" "An ancient chamber, older than our cities. It only opens for those with the Eos gene, a patterned thought lost forever. And I have it." She nodded. "Yes, and perhaps, through you, our future can begin." Elias looked out again at the glowing city. He was just a man from Earth, but now he carried something bigger, something powerful. He wasn't just chosen, he was meant to be here. And soon, he would find out why. The wind blew softly across the floating towers of Varelia, making the crystal walls sing like a chorus. Commander Elias Rowe stood on a balcony of the sanctum, staring out over the glowing city. His thoughts were racing. Ever since the attack by the old guard assassin, everything had changed. Not just in the way others looked at him, but in how he felt inside. His body moved faster, his mind was sharper, he healed quicker. Something had awakened, and now they were calling it the Eos gene. Elias didn't know what that meant, but the Varelians did. And they were taking it very seriously. Inside the Hall of Memory, Selthari stood beside a great silver wall, filled with ancient carvings. The symbols glowed faintly as she touched them with her fingers. "The Eos gene was believed to be lost thousands of years ago," she said, not turning to Elias yet. "It was part of a bond between our species and something beyond, a spark of creation itself." Elias walked beside her. "You think I carry that gene?" "I don't think," she replied. "I know, but how?" he asked. "I'm human, from Mars. I grew up fixing solar panels and learning old Earth languages. Nothing about me is ancient or powerful." Selthari turned to him now, her glowing eyes calm. "Sometimes, the most powerful things sleep in the quietest places," she said. "Perhaps humans evolved from something even older than we imagined, or perhaps your bloodline carries a hidden path." Elias touched the wall. The symbols near his hand lit up, forming a spiral. A warm pulse moved through his fingers. "I've seen this pattern before," he whispered. Selthari's eyes widened. "Where in a dream," Elias said slowly. "Back on Earth I thought it was just a strange symbol, but it looked exactly like this." She stared at him in silence, then stepped forward. "Come with me. You must see the vault." The Vault of Origin was hidden beneath the oldest mountain on Varelia. No ship could reach it. Only those approved by the council, and now LEAs were allowed inside. They descended through glowing tunnels, where the walls pulsed with energy like veins. At the end of the path, there was a large circular door with no handle, no lock. It was smooth and silver, like water turned to metal. Selthari looked at him. "Place your hand here." Elias stepped forward and pressed his palm against the door. At first, nothing happened. Then the metal rippled like waves. Lines of light spread from his hand. The whole vault lit up. The door slowly opened with a low hum. Inside was a giant chamber, filled with floating symbols, glowing stones, and energy streams. At the center, a sphere of pure light floated above a pedestal. Elias walked in slowly. The moment he stepped inside, The chamber reacted. Symbols spun faster. The light glowed brighter. A voice echoed, not in sound but in thought. Welcome, First Flame. He froze. Did you hear that? Scifi nodded, her voice full of awe. Yes, but it was meant only for you. He turned back to the sphere. It pulsed gently, like a heart. He reached toward it. The moment his hand touched the light, a vision flooded his mind. He saw stars being born, planets rising from dust, beings of light and shadow moving across galaxies, and at the center of it, all humans, but not as he knew them, taller, brighter, filled with energy. A memory came. The humans were once creators, not just explorers. And then, they fell, lost to time, broken by war, forgotten by all, even themselves. Only, the blood remained, a seed, waiting to wake. Elias gasped and fell to his knees as the vision ended. His heart raced. Sweat ran down his forehead. Scifi helped him stand. What did you see? She asked. Elias looked at her, still shaking. A history no one remembers. We were something ancient, something powerful, but it all fell apart. Scifi nodded slowly. Then the legends were true. You are not just part of our future, you are a bridge to a forgotten past. Over the next few days, everything changed. Varelian scientists began studying DNA more closely. They discovered patterns that matched ancient Varelian data sequences thought to be extinct. The EOS gene was real, and it was active. The Council of Elders held meetings every day. Messages were sent across the stars. Other species in the galactic concord watched closely. Some offered help. Others warned of danger. Not all were happy about the awakening of such a powerful lineage. Elias, meanwhile, was changing. He no longer needed as much sleep. His wounds healed in minutes. His memory became almost perfect. He could see things others couldn't. Tiny details, energy patterns, even emotions. And with each day, he felt a pull, a feeling that something more was coming. Something bigger. One evening, Scifi joined him in the sky garden of the sanctum. Flowers floated in the air, glowing gently in the night breeze. The stars above shined brighter than usual. You have changed, Elias, she said. I feel it, he replied, and it scares me. She smiled kindly. Change always does. He looked at her. What happens now? We begin the final phase, she said. The continuance. It is not only about survival anymore, it is about rebirth. Our future may depend on your bloodline, he nodded slowly. And if I fail, she touched his shoulder gently, then we fall. But I don't believe you will fail. He looked into her eyes. Neither do I. But far above, in the cold reaches of space, a shadow moved. A ship cloaked in darkness received a signal from a spy hidden among the Concord. The message was simple. The EOS has awakened. The shadowy commander of the ship turned to his crew. Then the prophecy begins. Prepare the ascents. Back on Varelia, Elias stood once more in the vault. The light sphere had changed. It was now shaped like a tree, with glowing roots and branches stretching across the chamber walls. Scifi stood beside him. Are you ready? She asked. He took a deep breath. I don't think I'll ever be ready, but I'll never run, she nodded. Then let the rite begin. As the chamber filled with light, Elias felt the energy rise inside him. Not just strength, not just knowledge, but purpose. Something had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. The skies above Varelia were calm, but danger was approaching fast. Elias rose, stood in the vault of origin. His eyes closed, body still. Energy from the glowing tree-shaped core surrounded him like warm wind. It wasn't just light, it was life. Every breath he took made him feel stronger, more connected to something ancient. But he was not alone anymore. Outside the vault, warnings echoed through the temple. Red lights blinked softly in the crystal walls. Varelian guards moved quickly through the halls. Scifi entered the chamber with urgency in her voice. Elias, she said firmly. We have a problem. He opened his eyes slowly. I felt it. Something is wrong out there. She nodded. Our scanners have detected a ship entering our system. Its design does not match any friendly species. It's cloaked, silent, and fast. Elias stepped away from the glowing tree. The ones who sent the assassin, most likely, she answered. We believe they are called the Ascendants. They follow an old belief, one that sees your kind as a threat to galactic balance. Elias frowned. But why? I haven't done anything yet. They fear what you might become, she said, and fear is dangerous. A council meeting was called in the upper chambers. Varelian leaders, scientists, and warriors sat around a floating table shaped like a star, stood at the head. The Ascendants are coming, she announced. They know about Elias. We must prepare for defense. A general in silver armor stood up. Do we know their numbers? Only one ship for now, said a scout. But it's large, heavily armed. Elias listened quietly, then finally spoke. Let me help. This is my fault if I hadn't awakened. The EOS gene Siltheri stopped him. No, this is not your fault. The Vault called to you for a reason. But if I sit here doing nothing, others will pay the price, Elias said. Let me be part of the defense. The room fell silent. The general nodded. He has skill. I saw his trial. He moves like no other human. Another elder added. He is more than human now. After a moment, Siltheri agreed. Then we fight, together. Elias was taken to the Skyforge, Varelia's secret weapons facility. Inside, engineers worked on starships made from living crystal and powered by light. One ship in particular stood out. It pulsed with energy and shaped itself as Elias approached. It's reacting to you, said the lead engineer. You should pilot it. Elias raised a brow. I've flown fighters, but this looks ... different. The engineer smiled. It's partly alive. It will learn from you. Elias stepped into the ship. The walls adjusted around him. Controls appeared, shaped to his hands. Lights danced across the glass. And then he heard a voice, not in his ears, but in his mind. Pilot confirmed. Welcome, Flamebearer. Elias blinked. Okay, ... that's new. The Ascendant's ship arrived 3 hours later. It was black and sharp, shaped like a giant claw. It didn't respond to hails. It didn't wait to talk. It began charging its weapons. Varelian defense ships rose to meet it, including Ilias's crystal vessel, which the Varelians now called the Flamewing. Stay in formation, said the general over the comms. Elias flew fast, faster than he expected. The ship read his thoughts and responded instantly. The battle began. Lasers streaked across the sky. Shields lit up. Explosions shook the stars. The Ascendant's ship was strong. It fired dark beams that bent gravity, crushing smaller ships in seconds. But Elias moved like a whisper. He dodged attacks before they came. He hit weak points without being told. The Flamewing glowed brighter each time it struck. Inside the Ascendant ship, the commander watched with cold eyes. He has awakened, the commander growled. Too soon, his second-in-command asked. Should we retreat? No, he replied. Bring out the Void Hunter. A second ship uncloaked, smaller but deadlier. It locked onto the Flamewing and chased Elias through the upper atmosphere. Elias weaved through clouds and mountains, the ship singing under his control. The Void Hunter was fast, matching his every move. Then it fired a dark net of energy. Elias couldn't dodge it in time. The ship was caught, sparks flew, lights flickered, his controls stopped responding. He was falling. Back at the sanctum, gasped. He's hit. Engineers tried to send help, but they were too far. Elias's ship fell toward the forest valley at the last second. He reached deep into the ship, into its core. He didn't use his hands. He used his mind. Come on, he whispered. We're not done. The core pulsed. A wave of energy exploded from the ship, breaking the net. Wings reshaped, engines reignited. The Flamewing rose again, brighter than ever. The Void Hunter turned to flee, but Elias was faster now. He chased it into orbit, locked weapons, and fired a single shot. The enemy ship shattered in silence. Back on the ground, the Ascendant's main ship began to retreat. The Varelians didn't chase. The battle was over. Elias returned to the city, where crowds gathered. They cheered as he landed. Siltheri met him with a rare smile. You saved us, she said. He stepped down from the ship. We saved each other. Later, in the quiet gardens of the temple, Elias and Siltheri sat beneath a glowing tree. The Ascendants will return, he said. They will, she agreed. But now they know we are not afraid. Elias looked up at the stars. There's more out there, more enemies, more secrets. Siltheri nodded, and more answers. The Vault has only just begun to speak. Elias touched his chest. He still felt the energy inside him, the EOS gene, awake and alive. I need to know where it came from, he said, and what I'm really meant to become. Then we will search, she said softly. Together, far away, in a hidden part of the galaxy, the Ascendants regrouped. Their leader stood before a round table with a map of ancient symbols. He is stronger than we feared, one general said. Another added, the EOS is reborn. The leader narrowed his eyes. Then we must awaken our own. A chamber door opened, revealing a being in shadow. Send word to the obsidian core, the leader commanded. Tell them, it is time. The stars above Varelia sparkled peacefully, but the peace was only on the surface. Deep inside, Elias Rowe knew the battle was not over. The Ascendants had been pushed back, but not destroyed, and he could feel something else, something larger. moving in the dark corners of space. The Vault of Origin had started whispering again. Scifi noticed a change in him. He barely slept now, and when he did, he dreamed of ancient places, forgotten wars, and a great fire that once lit the universe. The Eos gene is growing stronger inside you, she said as they walked in the crystal garden. I can feel it, Elias said, but I don't know what it wants. It doesn't want, Scifi corrected gently. It remembers. Inside the vault, the living tree-shaped light changed once again. Its glowing roots spread wider, reaching across the walls, connecting to symbols that had been dark for thousands of years. A new path opened beneath it, a staircase made of light. It's guiding you, Scifi whispered, to the final truth. Elias nodded. Then I'll follow it. He stepped onto the staircase. Scifi tried to join him, but the light blocked her path. Only the flamebearer may pass, she said softly. Go. I will wait. Elias descended into the unknown. The stairs led him to a hidden chamber far beneath Varelia's surface. The air felt ancient. The walls were covered in symbols from many worlds, Varelian, human, and others he had never seen. At the center was a tall mirror made of black glass, but it didn't show his reflection. It showed his past. He saw Earth, his childhood, his parents, the first time he joined the Mars training course. Then it changed. He saw another world. Bright, powerful, full of humans with glowing eyes and fire in their hands. The first flame. The memory burned into him. His people were once the protectors of the stars, creators, not just survivors. They built peace among galaxies, shaped matter, healed planets. But power brings envy, and envy brings war. The obsidian core rose to stop them. In the end, the first flame was broken, scattered across time and space. Only traces remained, bloodlines, whispers, dreams. Until now, when Elias returned to the surface, Scifi waited. For him, his eyes now glowed faintly gold. His voice was calm but deep with understanding. I saw it all, he said. What we were, what we lost, and why the Ascendants fear us. You carry the memory of your kind, she said with pride. And now, he added, I must finish what they started. News came fast. The Obsidian Core, a hidden empire that once helped destroy the first flame, was active again. Their ships were gathering at the edge of known space. They were calling for the final purge to wipe out anyone carrying the Eos gene, and Elias was their main target. The Galactic Concord met in emergency session. Many feared the war. Some wanted to hide, but Elias stood before them and spoke clearly. I'm not a weapon, I am not a danger, but I will defend the right to exist. My bloodline is not your enemy, it is your ally. Let me stand for peace. His words moved many. The Concord agreed to form a joint defense, but the final stand had to happen not in space, but in the Star Cradle. A lost station built by the first flame, hidden in a dying system. Elias would go there, and awaken its full power. Elias, Scifi, and a team of brave volunteers flew toward the Star Cradle in the Flamewing, which now shimmered with golden lines and spoke clearly to Elias in thoughts and visions. As they reached the ancient system, they saw the station floating quietly above a faded sun. It was shaped like a ring, massive and cracked but still alive. They landed in the core chamber. Symbols lit up. Lights pulsed. A voice spoke. Welcome, heir of fire. Rebirth begins. But they weren't alone. The Obsidian Core arrived in of black ships, energy weapons charged. A dark figure stepped out of their lead ship. It was the Archon of Shadows, leader of the Core. His armor was cold and jagged. His voice echoed through the station. You awakened the past, he said, but the past brings only ruin. Elias stepped forward. Not ruin, hope. Then you will burn with your hope, the Archon growled. And the final battle began. Ships clashed in space. Lasers and light clashed like fireworks. The Flamewing danced across the stars, faster than any ship. Elias moved like a firestorm, guiding defenses and fighting with light itself. But the Archon was powerful. He entered the station, walking through shields like smoke. He and Elias faced each other in the heart of the Star Cradle. You carry fire, the Archon hissed, but you are still flesh. Elias stood tall. Maybe, but I am not alone. The vault's energy, the cradle's core, and the dreams of the first flame all answered his call. A great burst of golden light rose from the ground. The station healed. The cracks closed. Power returned. And Elias rose into the air, surrounded by flame, not fire that burned, but fire that healed. The Archon tried to strike, but his shadow melted under the light. With one final word, peace, Elias released the energy. The Obsidian Core. Ships were disabled. The Archon vanished into light. The battle ended not in blood but in balance. Days later, the galaxy knew peace. The Concord celebrated Elias as a hero not for his power, but for his choice to protect without hate. The EOS gene was now a symbol of unity. It awakened in others too, not as soldiers, but as builders, thinkers, and healers. The first flame had returned not as rulers, but as guardians. Elias stood again in the gardens of Varelia, watching children play beneath the crystal trees. Silthari walked beside him. "You changed everything," she said. He shook his head with a smile. "No, we did." And far in the stars, other lights blinked on. Others had survived, others with the spark. The legacy had begun, and the story was far from over. The end.